بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum. It is Wednesday, the 8th of June, 2022, and in our broadcasts, Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 321. I beg your pardon, 322. These broadcasts come to you courtesy of Laser Lahore India School for Education in Religion, which is a branch of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Islam. The Ahmadiyya organization was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and he taught that although other Muslims say that at least one more prophet can come after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, he taught that this is incorrect, because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet Muhammad is Khatamun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet explained that term by saying, La Nabi Abadi, there is no prophet after me. So now no prophet can come, whether it is an old prophet or a new one or a green one or a blue one. No one is going to come. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh claimed that in accordance with the hadith, he was the Mujaddid. And he was one of a series of Mujaddideen who would come in according to that hadith. But his distinction was that other hadiths mention the Messiah and Mahdi. And he said that these titles apply to him. I'm sorry, there's been a slight problem on one of our platforms. So I apologize to people on Mix LR, although we haven't started the topic proper. For some reason, we weren't broadcasting on that. So let me repeat that this is the broadcast for 8th of June 2022. Reflections on the Holy Quran, broadcast number 322, and discussing chapter 2, verse 102. This is part 3 of that. So after that, yes, I'll pick up from where I left off for the other platforms. Yes, as I was saying, so Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib's distinction was that he was the Mujaddid to whom these titles applied, the titles of Messiah and Mahdi. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed out that Muslims are too hasty in calling each other heretic and out of fold of Islam and so on. And he pointed to a command of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, who said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima that you're not a Muslim, then this fatwa, this edict, actually returns to the person who utters it. So it's the person uttering these words who's kafir. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that people say some prophetic revelation is missing from the Holy Quran, and they say some revelation which is in the Holy Quran has been abrogated or cancelled and is no longer applicable. And he stressed that this is wrong, because God said that He has revealed the Holy Quran, and He is its protector. So how can something that God is protecting have things in it which are wrong and cancelled and things which have been missed out from it? And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also pointed out that generally Muslims think that jihad means you take the sword and you attack the non-Muslims, and if they don't recite the kalima, you cut their heads off. This is incorrect. We have to take jihad as defined by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. When returning from fighting, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, from the minor jihad we now return to the major jihad, which is a jihad with your own souls, with your own self. Jihad bin nafs, with your own desires. So yes, jihad is a fundamental duty of every Muslim, and we should be conducting it 24 hours a day. But that jihad which the Holy Prophet told us to carry out, not some definition that someone else made up for jihad. So with that, let us now go to the verse of the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 102. It's a very long one, and I will only recite the phrases or the parts which are relevant to what we're going to talk about. So it's the first two parts, the first two phrases that are relevant today. And it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر. And its English translation is, and they follow what the devils fabricated. And they follow what the devils fabricated against the kingdom of Solomon. And Solomon disbelieved not. but the devils disbelieved, teaching men enchantment. So today we are going to look at Sulaiman and wamaa and kafara. Wamaa obviously is an expression rather than a word. So, but we'll come to that when we come to it. Right. Okay. Let me go to my notes. And as I said, Sulaiman is actually a proper noun. And we had this yesterday, that a proper noun is a name for a particular person or town or country, etc. And we had this common noun would be city, proper noun would be Swindon, London, and so on. So here this is a name of a prophet, and he was also a king, etc. And the next expression is wamaa. Wa we know means and it's called the resumption particle. Basically, it's a connecting word. It connects, it says this and that. And ma is the negative, which makes it not. And then we have the word kafara. And the triliteral root of kafara is kaf, fa, ra. And from these three letters, 14 words have been made. And in total, they appear in the Holy Quran 525 times. And 289 times it is kafara. And where are we? 129 times it's kafirun. And 37 times it's kufr. And 27 times it's kafir. And 14 times it's kafara. And 12 times it's kafur. And then the other occurrences are in ones and twos, etc. So, what does it mean? Well, its basic fundamental meaning is to hide something. And so this expression, this word is used for night. Why? Because the night hides everything. You can't see anything. And the farmer, the same expression is used for the farmer. Why? Because the farmer hides the seed in the ground. So anywhere where this idea applies, you can use this this word or a derivative of this word. For example, we have al-kafur. What is that? It's the skin for example, that grapes have rather than that skin. It hides the fruit or the real thing that you want to eat. And this is why we have the word kufran or expression kufrani nemat from kufr. Why? Because we are hiding a blessing, and that means we are ungrateful. We are hiding the blessing of Allah, and that means we are ungrateful. And the biggest denial, the biggest thing that you can hide, of course, is unity of Godhead, or the revelation to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, or prophethood of prophets. And generally, what has happened is that the word kufr has become restricted to these things. Denying Allah, denying His revelation, denying His prophets, and so on. And the word kufran is used when you are ungrateful, when you deny some blessing of Allah. Or the kafur is sort of used for both. Let's see an example from the Holy Quran. فَأَبَى الظَّالِمُونَ إِلَّا كُفُورًا. And the unjust denied it and would not accept it. Illa kufura. Here the word kafur is used, to deny. فَأَبَى أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ إِلَّا كُفُورًا. Chapter 17, verse 89. And most people deny it and do not accept it. And God, in fact, warns us in the Holy Quran. He says, لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ وَمَنْ شَكَرَ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ رَبِّي غَنِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. Chapter 27, verse 4. So that He may test me or try me to see whether I'm grateful or whether I'm ungrateful. And the person who's grateful, he does it for his own benefit. And the person who's ungrateful, then God doesn't need human gratefulness. It makes no difference to Him. See, being grateful is very important, because what happens is when you are grateful, then it stops you from becoming proud and arrogant. It stops you from thinking that that's it, I can do anything, I don't need anyone. And in fact, I used to know someone, and he had 2 sons. And when they grew up, I say grew up, when they were sort of, teenagers, late teens, one day he was talking to someone and he said, "Oh, my sons have now grown up and I don't need anyone." And I sort of burst out laughing, and he said, "Yes, it's true. I don't need anyone. I have 2 sons that they've grown up." So I said to him, "Well, the problem is this, that to put your body, the box, in your grave, you'll need 4 people. You've only got two. The point I'm making is from the day, the time that you were born. In fact, the day or the time that conception takes place, to when you are put into the ground, you depend on others and others depend on you. And you depend on Allah. You depend on Allah and you depend on others. Now, to say otherwise is to be ungrateful. And God warns us in chapter 2, verse 152. Washkuru li wala takfuru. And be grateful. Recognize my favors on you. And wala takfuru. And don't be ungrateful, or don't hide, don't deny my blessings. And many people do this. And what they do is, you go to them and, you say to them, you're doing well and this and that and so on. And they try and sort of deny that they're doing so well. And it's not out of modesty. It may be because they think, oh, he's come here and he's telling me I'm doing so well. And if I say, yes, I am, then he's going to, ask me to lend him some money. But acknowledging God's blessings does not mean that you boast and you become proud and arrogant and so on and that kind of thing. You humbly acknowledge that God has been good to you. And elsewhere the Holy Quran says, فَأَلْتَ حَالَتَكَ الَّتِي فَأَلْتَ وَأَنْتَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ, chapter 26, verse 19. And you did something which shows that you are an ungrateful people. And this is, something that people should recognize, that human beings are ungrateful. If you gave someone a gold Rolex and next day, or next week or next month, you went to see him and you saw that man's dog or cat were playing with that Rolex, how would you feel? How would you feel? This person, this friend or relative or whoever, colleague, you gave a very expensive watch, a Rolex, and this is how he treats it. He may have thanked you profusely, but he is being ungrateful by his actions. And this is what we've done. On this earth, God created for us everything. He gave us air, clean air, he gave us clean water, and so on. And rather than preserve these good things, use them for our benefit, and keep them pure for the coming generations, we misuse them. And we talk about recycling and all this kind of thing. Who recycles? I mean, if you need a new sweater, Do you undo the old one and knit you use that wool to knit a new one, or do you just go out to the shops and buy a new one? I don't think there are many people around who know how to knit. I still remember that in summer, my mum used to undo all the sweaters and so on and get the wool washed and then get it recolored and then buy some patterns. And throughout the summer, she would be sitting there knitting her sweaters. So come winter, it would look as if we had brand new sweaters to wear. But now we just go to the shops and we buy another one. And we don't give a single thought to the fact that, under the old system, a ball of wool might have been used for 5 years. Now, after 1 year or 2 years, it just gets thrown out. And we don't pay any attention to the fact that we are using new and extra wool. It's being taken to a factory so that it's turned into threads. And then they get shipped to another factory where it's knitted by machines into a jumper or sweater or whatever. Then it's again put into lorries and it's transported, and then perhaps into boats or in planes and transported further. So what is it all doing? It's all using up those resources that God gave us. All those resources are being used up, wasted. At each stage, the factory uses power and pollutes the air. The truck uses petrol or diesel and pollutes the air. And God gave us earth and water, and amongst other things, God created the ozone layer, which protects us from the harmful radiation from the sun. And what have we done? We've gone and made a hole in it over North Pole. So that harmful radiation can now get to Earth. Isn't that being ungrateful? Go back to the example I gave about, someone giving a friend or a relative the gold Rolex. And next time he goes, he finds his dog playing with it. We've done exactly the same thing. And now we talk about, recycling and all this kind of thing, which is good. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. But what I'm saying is the way we behave on this earth shows to God that we are ungrateful people. And this is what the Holy Quran says in chapter 14, verse 7. La in shakartum la zaidannakum wala in kafartum inna azabi la shadid. If you are grateful, shakartum, then I will give you more. And if you're ungrateful, kafartum, then my punishment is severe. Now apply that to the way we behave and what we do. If we were grateful, we would be looking after the environment. The current Brazilian president won his election because he promised that he'll remove all restrictions on cutting down the Brazilian rainforest, which is the largest natural resource which purifies air for us. It absorbs carbon dioxide and releases oxygen into the air. That's the largest source for that. And he said, that's okay. All on the one hand, we are pumping car fuels and truck fuels and fumes from factories and homes and so on into the air. Carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and so on. And on the other hand, we are actually cutting down and destroying what can actually purify that air. Which shows that, we may say that we are grateful, but we're not. Like the example I gave. You gave this guy a Rolex and he said, oh, thank you very much. This is beautiful, the most expensive watch in the world and it's made of gold and blah, blah, blah. And you thought, oh, that's great. He's very grateful. And he comes back next week or next month or whatever and sees your dog playing with it. In practice, are you grateful? But as God says, that if you're ungrateful, you are the ones who are going to suffer. And this is what's happening. We will suffer by global warming, by sea levels rising. It's not going to affect God that sea levels are going to rise 5 foot and drown most of the seashores. The sea will just come in. So you will have a bigger population. You'll have to accommodate in a smaller area. With that, we come to the end of the time for our broadcast. So with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.